folks, or good morning. This is Steve Sampson, and our special guest co-host today is none other than Patrick Casale.
Morning.
How you doing,
Doing
Mr.
good,
Casale? We
Thanks for having me.
we don't have Jim Jonas or Stephen Jonas today, so the Jonas brothers are out, but we do have one of the Jonas brothers behind the camera, so Mark Jonas, but we'll talk about him later. But today we're going to talk to North Las Vegas Mayor John Lee and gubernatorial candidate for Nevada governor. And you know what? Gubernatorial and Nevada governor is actually the same thing.
Sounds good, though.
Yeah. But before we get to Mayor Lee, let's give a moment of silence for Nevada Highway Patrol Officer Micah May. Officer May lost his life putting down spikes on the freeway to stop a carjacker, and the senseless killing of this officer is terrible for our community. And we just want to express her condolence, her thoughts, her prayers to the family of Officer May. Patrick, do you have anything?
You know, I just lost words. I've lost a family member who was in law enforcement back in Irvington, New Jersey, back in the day, and I can sit here and tell you that we need to embrace the blue. Yeah. Without law enforcement, you have nothing, and what you're seeing across the country right now, this defunding the police is the most mentally challenged thing I've ever heard in my life.
I'm all about getting rid of the bad apples.
Make the crimes. You know what we need to do is make the prisons tough enough where you don't want to go. Not make it a country club. Make it where you're maybe in a cell for 24/7 for 5 years, and you're lucky to get bread and water. Maybe you wouldn't break the laws. Your rights are gone when you go to prison for crimes similar to what just happened to this officer.
You know what? When you're in the military, you don't even have constitutional rights. But yet prisoners still have their constitutional rights. But the men and women that protect their country, their constitutional rights are out the window as soon as they sign that contract. Well, it's amazing.
What blows my mind is how we can possibly ever look at police and make them out to be bad. I listened to a radio show locally, and that person says the majority of police officers are good. Majority is 51%.
Right.
That's terrible. It's about 99%. Every brand of business has a 1%er. Mm-hmm. Okay, it happens. Right. But those police officers every day of the week rise and they go out to serve the public. Yeah. And like Sean Connery said in Untouchables, you got to go home to your family. That's the rule number one in law enforcement. Go home safe to take care of your family. Yeah. And Micah gets hurt. You know, we talked about the young man Shay who was shot earlier. That's ridiculous for no reason.
The one that was shot at a protest.
Down
on Fremont Street.
Right, in the back of the head. He went to the prom with my daughter. You can't have these. This is insane. As a father, I would tell my kids, don't even think about being police officers. And you know as well as I do, law enforcement's a heritage. It's a family thing. Grandfather, father, son. And that's the way it works. And that's all changing.
I saw Blue Lives?
Blue Bloods?
Blue Bloods, yes.
My favorite show.
I like that show.
Yeah, that in Chicago PD. They do a good job. That's what it's all about. Mr. Lee, you have to admit, without the great people in North Las Vegas taking care of business, what will we have?
No, and I recognize that, but I actually invested, and I'm able to do that. We've got 105 new officers since police staff and support staff since I became mayor. We put $21 million more in the budget for that. In North Las Vegas, if you want to do crime, we're going to stop you. You know, we don't take a knee to anybody in North Las Vegas. We fight for our residents.
It's funny he says that. We don't take a knee.
Yeah, that's another story.
But my point is this, that we're serious about protecting the residents of North Las Vegas. And I think most bad people realize when they get caught by North Las Vegas, it ain't going to be easy for them to get out.
Yeah. Could you imagine you have to have cameras everywhere now? You have to have security everywhere now just because? I mean, where's the sense of community? Where are your neighbors looking out for one another, making sure if there's anything strange going on, you pick up a phone? And the biggest problem I see is the media as a whole. The news media loves to attack the blue when it's appropriate, but they never attack the bad when it's appropriate, which is every day lately. Yeah. I mean, the crime that's going on is amazing. If you looked at last week in New York and Brooklyn, you had an innocent 60-year-old man get the tar beat out of him, gets a broken nose, broken jaw, concussion, broken ribs. What could he have made? Maybe he lost $200. To beat somebody that way for $200, you should be shot. I'm sorry. Law enforcement needs to take the handcuffs off the police and allow them to do their job. Minnesota, yesterday, apparently they decapitated a lady in open public.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, this is it's senseless. You can't, and imagine a police station saying, okay, we're leaving, it's all yours. We're giving up our land like that. I mean, what's next? We'll give up our borders and we'll let China or Russia take over our country and we'll all become communists? And I know you're anti-communist.
But I think it's brazen all the way down to people walk into the store with backpacks and just start loading up and filling up everything they got, and just in plain sight. There's no fear of this, what's going on. There needs to be some responsibility, and it has to start with the community, like you guys are saying.
But $900, if it's under $900, there's no penalty. It's like clearance sale. Everything must go free.
And I know you have your own talk show, Mr. Casale, so I'm going to have to cut you off.
Sorry. Sorry. I just, when you start talking, I'm passionate. I apologize.
But do you have any rants? Do you have anything you want to get off your chest? Besides the law enforcement deal?
I tell you what, I think it's just, it'd be nice to see more people stand up for those that protect us, whether it's our first responders in the medical field, the military, or law enforcement, or even the fire department. I mean, it's time for us to take 2 steps back and show respect. Respect is the key.
And I want to congratulate you. You became the
Political director
for the Clark County Republican Party. So congratulations.
Thank you very much
for that. And I want to congratulate Jesse Law for being chairman of the Clark County Republican Party, and all those other officers that was there as well.
You saw the meeting. When was the last time you saw a meeting run that well without any hitch?
Yeah, there was over 400 people there, and nobody was yelling, nobody was pushing, nobody was want to start anything. Everybody was calm. Well, I was sergeant at arms, so.
No, yeah, but you know what? You have to admit it was pretty easy for you. You know, I think if you saw that, if you were there that night, there was an energy we haven't seen in a while. That there were 360 guests. There was 111 voters, or 113 people that could actually voted. And what I consider and tell you is that we're looking to be inclusive of those Republicans that are interested in turning this around. We want to embrace that, and we can win Nevada. We can take back Clark County.
Well, you know what? People need to be unified.
100%.
People in the same household need to stop throwing knives at each other.
you know, and there's no. What I don't understand is that if we fought over power, but there's when you're power of nothing, what does it matter? We have one goal: to win. The only way you win is each and every constituent needs to work together with one goal in mind.
All right. So before we get to the mayor, I got one more thing I wanted to do, and this is why I was late, because I was like doing a little shopping, and I just wanted to. I got a very dear friend, right? And I just wanted to do a little sing-along. I don't know how to open this up.
Well, you can just hold it up for an hour showing.
No. We're going to do it right, Pat.
There you go.
We're going to do it right, so we're going to put this there, right? And look what I got. I washed it.
Paper towel.
I washed it. And we got plates, right? And we got a candle, right?
I remember that day.
Pat, did I forget the? Okay. And we got a cake. Let's put the cake in the middle. Cake in the middle. Oh my God. Mayor, everybody's gonna be tuning into this show because of this. Right? And we're gonna light these candles. Right? Right?
Well, I know it's not my birthday, that's for sure.
And those numbers are a little off for me.
And we're gonna call Mark Jonas, our cameraman, to come on over here. Mark, come on over here.
Oh, Mark, congratulations.
Happy birthday.
Come on over here, Mark.
Thank you.
I think it's 30.
All right, stand right here. We're gonna sing happy birthday.
Okay.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Marcus. Happy birthday to you.
And many more.
Channel 4.
Good
All right,
for you.
take your cake with you, Mark.
Yeah. You're only 43?
Yeah.
I wish I remember those days. Seems like yesterday.
I guess we could eat that later.
Yeah.
We don't want to. And take the knife too. I don't like knives.
Yeah, I'm worried. I'm throwing one.
Hot topic, yeah.
Nice to come in on your birthday. Thank you.
All right, so that was Marcus Jonas. He turned 43. I believe it was the day I got back from New York. It was July 7th or the 8th. One of those 2 days, and we're just a little late on it. And I just wanted to tell him happy birthday. Mark does all the editing for the show. He does the videotaping, and he does an excellent job. So we just want to thank him and tell him happy birthday. But today's guest is Mayor John Lee, North Las Vegas mayor and gubernatorial candidate for this great state of Nevada. And we're going to turn the show over to Mayor Lee and find out how, what's going on in Mayor Lee's mind and why he wants to be governor of Nevada and what he's doing as mayor. So we're going to go right to the mayor. Mayor John Lee, how you doing today, sir?
Thank you. Thank you for letting me dress down this early Saturday morning. I appreciate
Absolutely.
that.
This is a comfy show.
Yeah.
It's not, no stick in the butt, none of that.
I got it.
So tell us about you.
Well, I was born in Middlesex, and again, my father was in the Air Force. We were with a gentleman named Francis Gary Powers, and he got shot down over the Soviet Union. And that base was disavowed as an American base, and it was actually a secret base. It was sent from there over to Roswell, New Mexico.
Did you say Soviet Union?
Huh?
Did you say the Soviet Union? Is that what you said?
Yeah, that's where
He was shot down
Gary
in
Powers.
Soviet?
Yeah, the U-2 program.
Okay.
And then from there, we went over to Area 51 test site, out in that area there. So my father was a Secret Service man and had a great career. I'm glad we ended up here, but I grew up in North Las Vegas, went to all the schools there that were in my area, and I graduated from Rancho High School, and I married the love of my life. I met her when I was 18, and 19, the week I turned 19, we got married, and now we have 7 children, and we have 30 grandchildren.
Wow.
30 grandchildren.
30 grandchildren.
And I'm happy with my 2.
You should be. You should be.
30.
It's probably broke on
Those are some
Christmas.
parties. There's some parties you must have. I love that.
Are you broke on Christmas?
No, my wife makes sure that she loves them all too much, though, I'll tell you.
So, you talk about Rancho High School. I had two of my sons graduated from Rancho in the magnet program. So
It's a different school, isn't it?
yes.
Yeah, it's a great magnet program over there. We're very proud of Rancho High School in our community.
Yeah. And you were in the legislature for a while.
Yeah, I was 6 years in State Assembly, Stephen, and I was 8 years as State Senator, Chairman of the Government Affairs Committee.
When did you become state senator?
Probably, oh my gosh, Stephen, 2003 or something like that, in that area. And then I served for quite a while there. I loved it. I never had an opportunity to go to college, but I can tell you serving in the legislature was the greatest education I could have ever received.
And for full disclosure, I've known Mayor Lee when he was in the Assembly, so
Yeah.
that's been a minute.
You haven't changed a bit, but I sure have been older.
Nevada, you had some great legends up there when you were there.
I did. I think serving with Joe Dini was exceptional. Learning and watching Bill Raggio and the old school people actually run the state properly. It really was a good tutorial for me.
Bill Raggio, I had the pleasure of meeting him, and he gave me an education on politics. He says, when you run for office, you run as a Republican or a Democrat. Once you're elected, you represent all the people.
That's exactly right.
He told me that in an elevator. And I used to love going up there every session. Back with insurance agents, we'd go up every 2 years as well. And those were the days. The people you talked to were educated. They had their fingers on the pulse of Nevada, and they cared about Nevada as a whole. To me today, we're so divided, it's scary.
Yeah, that's the truth, Peter. Patrick, I don't ever feel like I'm more aligned to my party than I am to the state of Nevada. I think I'm a Nevadan first, and that's the way I run my life. And I do see they have so many different caucuses now, Steve, in these parties, and a caucus separates you. Yes, you have one group of people, but you don't have to have a caucus meeting every day to figure out how to tell people how to vote. They should be able to figure that out themselves and learn the system. So I went in a great era, no doubt about it. Ann O'Connell was up there with us for, she'd been there 18 years. She was the chairman of the committee two times before I was. Great leadership was given to the younger legislators.
When you were Assemblyman, were you in politics prior to that, or? That was your first start.
Yeah, I had a couple businesses. I was making money, but eventually
You're an electrician by trade, right?
yeah, that's kind of a slur. I'm a plumber. We think
Plumber by trade.
We think
Sorry.
electricians are overpaid. Then I got on. Jan Jones put me on the parking and traffic board for the city, and then I got on the comprehensive planning board for the county and Parks and Recreation board for the city. And I kept learning over and over that we could do more stuff if the legislature would have approved certain things. Right. And so I said, well, I think I could do that job. I mean, you know. So the guy that we had gotten an F, you know. And so I thought, well, I can at least get a C, you know, and I can at least try to do better than what's being done right now. And I got elected to the legislature. And from there, it was just the most wonderful experience to learn about mining, wild horses, things that you never think about. We live in Las Vegas here. Everywhere else lives in Nevada. So when we would go past Indian Springs, we were in a whole new state. We don't really know what goes on there unless you have relatives. Yes. But we have a beautiful state, and it's wonderful people throughout. The rurals are just tremendously patriotic people. I love this state.
Well, while you were Assemblyman in State Senate, what bills did you get passed for Nevada? What bills did you sponsor? What boards did you sit on?
Yeah, that's a good question. I was in agriculture, natural resources, and mining. I was on the taxation committee one time. I was in government affairs. I never served in judiciary, you know, or any of those kind of committees. But anyway, I was able to. Once you get on good committees you like and you have experience, you stay on those committees, you know. But in interim committees, I was on the Lake Tahoe Oversight Committee, you know. So I was the South, the guys in the North, we'd work together on Lake Tahoe issues, you know. I was on the oh my gosh, I'm losing this committee. High-level nuclear waste committee. We would travel the country, make sure that we weren't bringing nuclear waste here, what was going on in our industry with nuclear waste and stuff like that. I know
Oscar Goodman, when he was mayor, he was straight about not having any nuclear waste on the freeways.
Me too. You know, me too. So I you know, great experiences.
How shocked are you by the lack of cohesion now compared to the cohesiveness you had during your time? Because based on my experience of going up north, you all seem to work as one, even though you had the D and an R next to your name. What do you take from this? What's going on?
Well, I think everything changed when Senator Reid at that time decided that we should become a battleground state. He wanted to make sure, and Nevada wanted to make sure, that those people running for presidential office came to Nevada and we got to tell them about our issues. A lot of those earlier states were a lot of elderly white people in those areas. They didn't have the diversification that we had among people. But once we did that and we had all those people come and we had all those town halls and all those debates, then people that were elected to the legislature started meeting these people, and they finally go up to the legislature, but they wouldn't make a decision, Steve, until they called these people in Washington. What should I do? Because I want to be a congressman someday. I want to be a senator. So they aligned themselves with the national parties, and they quit thinking about Nevada first. They started thinking about their own careers. Where am I going to go? If I vote for this, how is this going to affect me when I run for Senate? And when I run for Senate and I want to run for Congress. So every decision was based upon their relationships and the next election. Yeah, and it changed since then.
And you know what upsets me with the legislator? If your name is on a bill, if you're sponsoring a good bill for the betterment of Nevada, and people don't like you, they kill the bill in committee.
Yeah, or you're in the wrong party.
Yeah.
You know, I get that, you know.
And that's crap. Aren't you supposed to be doing what's best for Nevada instead of putting your ego?
I blame that on the chairman of that party. I'm not part of that committee, because the committee votes. The committee comes in, you get to see what's everything, you schedule everything, you prepare everything. When that happens, you can say it's leadership, but that chairman has full power over what that committee is going to hear. So it's the chairman's fault, not his upline leadership.
Yes.
Wow.
So.
And I notice that all the time, and it's just sad. Sometimes I think that the legislature is like a fraternity party back in college.
You know, there's a lot of good politicians on both sides. Ellen Spiegel's a sweet lady, good lady. She's a good politician, honest, has integrity. An oxymoron comment when you're talking politics. Then but like you just said, if her name is on it, all the R's will say it's an absolute mess. But what I'm finding is a lot of our R's that are up there in Carson City don't seem to be doing the things that they promised to do across the board. which is basically like this 10% tax for mining. They tried to tell us, oh, miners wanted it. I'm like, you show me a business that wants to voluntarily pay taxes, please. I mean, I'm not that stupid, but unfortunately, we've been let down. I mean, the gross receipts tax, which is a stupid tax. We definitely need somebody who, like you, whose political background has always been blue dog. You've always been pretty much in the middle. That's what makes you successful.
What you'll notice in this is, Steve, this session, you'll have a mining tax. Next one, it will be, okay, we got to tax somebody, so we'll go after the gaming guys. Oh, now we got a RTC tax because we got to fix roads. Oh, now we need Southern Nevada Water Authority, so we'll tax there. Oh, it's a business guy's turn. And every cycle is sent, let's just keep moving taxes forward,
State income tax was mentioned this time.
So
that could happen.
I think we have enough money in the state right now. I think the infrastructure of the state is our biggest problem right now. The first order of business is to stay in business. And if you have $10 in your wallet, you've got $10 more than the state of Nevada has. But what we do with that money is we need to fix the infrastructure of the state. Can you imagine being unemployed and you're on the phone 24 hours waiting? You just let that thing stay waiting so you can get to the unemployment office to get your check. Nobody answers the phone and nobody cares.
9.86%. We have the highest unemployment in the country right now.
So we're not serving our residents in Nevada with our departments. They're trying at their level, but the legislature and the executive branch are not serving the residents of Nevada for the taxes they're paying right now, I can tell you.
Mayor, do you think there's a possibility this fall or winter they're going to do another shutdown in Nevada?
No, I don't think so. I really don't. I think that the past has proven that was very bad to follow California and do all the things those guys were doing. Every county is its own individual entity and has different hospitals, it has different amount of people and stuff like that. I don't believe we're going to get back to that again.
I hope you're right. I mean, the mask mandate just went into effect yesterday, and I'm concerned. And I'll tell you what, when you look at the casino industry, now that California and Arizona have sports wagering, for whatever reason they shut us down and we lose conventions again this year, we may never be Las Vegas ever again.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. If we keep the same governor we have now, it'll take us 10, if he goes 4 more years, Steve, we'll be behind 20 years. So the first order of business is to stay in business. We've got to keep Nevada in business, and that's what I believe will happen, I hope.
Since you brought up the governor, why is it that when people, people as they climb up the ladder, but then when they reach a certain peak on the ladder, they just don't remember who you are?
Change their phone number?
Well, I get that. I think what happens is once they get that, they ring the bell and they think they've arrived. But when you get there, you really want to do the job, or do you want to be noticed as a governor, or have your name in history, or do you really think you can do something, When I became mayor of North Las Vegas, I knew that was a go-nowhere opportunity for me. But all my friends said, why would you do this? Why would you ruin your reputation? Steve, I couldn't help it. I grew up there. I couldn't let my high school fail. I couldn't let my Boy Scout troop fail, my church fail. How could I let North Las Vegas fail?
Why'd you become mayor?
Well, because I thought I could fix North Las Vegas. I thought there was anybody in Nevada who could do it that lived in North Las Vegas, it would be me. I had the legislative experience. I had the business experience. I had the desire. And I was telling Patrick a little earlier, I have a natural curiosity to make businesses and government work better, And I thought it was a great opportunity to fix it.
And he proved himself. Yeah. I mean, more than Sisolak ever did, because Sisolak was never in that high of a position. He had the whole North Las Vegas. So that's pretty exciting when you consider where we're at right now.
Tell us about, since you became mayor of North Las Vegas, now we're leaving the legislature. Since you became mayor of North Las Vegas to now, what have you accomplished?
I think you recognize a city that in all 3 rating agencies we were junk. Now we're at the A level again. So we have refinanced a ton of bonds that we had, and we've saved millions of dollars just on interest. We've taken and we built back the infrastructure of the city. There's 3 kind of solvencies that you have in government. One is you have a financial solvency or insolvency. You have a structural insolvency, which means you might have money, but if you can't get enough police officers to go out and sit in those cars and do their jobs, you're insolvent in police or fire protection or building department or something. And the third one is political insolvency. If you can't go to the legislature and carry a big enough stick and get things accomplished, you know, and you just get kicked to the side all the time, you really have a hard time governing your city. So we've accomplished those three insolvencies to solvency. We've been very good there. I, with the council, have put in futuristic water lines and sewer lines to where we knew growth would go. And we have built up our community now. We're actually, see, we're diversifying the economy of Southern Nevada now finally. But the real thing, Patrick, that I want you to know is, I think about the people who live in North Las Vegas, and I'm worried about them. The number 2 form of savings in America for retirement is equity in your home. But we were in gaming, tourism, and hospitality forever, you know, and an airplane hits a building in New York like that sad day, you know, then we all lose our houses. Tourism stops. It's like, I'm scared that you're considering, could it stop again? But if we can keep people in houses, let her deal cars at Caesar's Palace. That's a good gig, good tips. But you should be, if you're the man or the woman of the family, the other person, you should be manufacturing something in North Las Vegas that's sold somewhere else in the world.
Oh, I love that. You know, I had thought about this as a health insurance specialist. Why aren't we manufacturing generic drugs in the United States? And what a perfect place to do it would be Nevada. If you became governor, you should try to get that to be done here. That would create great jobs. It would help our senior community get the prescriptions that are affordable because they're generic. And at the same time, we don't have to worry about buying drugs from our enemies.
Well, it is on the list of future industries that the state of Nevada has identified. We just picked the top 3 we were going to work on because we had enough land and you know, distribution and the things that we could do to manufacture. It's awful hard sometimes to get a national company to come here. They'll send a regional office here, but they won't send the home office until you get enough infrastructure around them. And we're doing that in North Las Vegas right now. We're providing the jobs of the future. We're providing the economic strength for this whole community now.
What would you say your top 3 accomplishments have been?
I would think fixing the financial issue of North Las Vegas. I would say rebuilding back everything that had been destroyed, from senior centers to libraries to a jail, you know, and all that kind of stuff. Building all the infrastructure back. And now, I mean, you don't pay John Lee to know how many sprinklers are out today at the park, Steve. I don't care. I mean, or street lights or potholes. We have wonderful, intelligent city managers and directors who work for us. You pay John Lee to know where we're going to be 10 years from now, and then that's where we're going to go. We're going to set a vision and we're going to hit it. The third thing is I've set a huge vision for North Las Vegas to become financially independent, and we're there. We're the strongest city in the state of Nevada right now of everybody. So we're in a good shape. I think I fixed it. Yeah, I think I fixed it. I can pan the baton on now to someone else.
Did COVID affect the city?
It did, but it didn't really affect us because we continued doing permits. We continued doing everything online. We've got the fastest building department in the state of Nevada. We got the fastest cars at the Speedway and the fastest airplanes at Nellis. Everything we do in North Las Vegas, there's 2 speeds, fast and faster. And we have built a system. We have inspectors now. They're sitting at home, and we make the contractors take their camera and show what they've done and walk the whole job. You know, we can inspect 3 times as many jobs as we did in the past when a man or woman walks out there and inspects it. We've speeded up the whole process of building. We have taken all the engineers and architects that want to. We've self-certified them, which means we almost made them part of our staff. We brought them in, we taught them everything we do, we taught them what our rules are. Every local government has different rules. And then when they were done and we knew that they were ready, we gave them self-certification. And that self-certification means if something comes in that has their name on it, then we immediately take this set of plans right here, Steve. We say, okay, here's where your building is going, fine. Here's your permit, go out and start your project. And so you can go out there and get the sidewalks going, you can dig your trenches, you can put the pad, and you can put the battered boards in, put the plumbing in there. While all that's going and your subcontractor's working, don't bury nothing, because we want to see everything you do. But we could be in the back with your plans, going over them, working with your engineers and checking things. So by the time you get going, you're ready to pour concrete, those plans are up and you're already past that stage now.
That sounds like political efficiency. It's something we haven't heard for about a long time.
Well,
that's exciting.
It's business.
Yeah, you lost your foam on the mic. So, you're fine.
But that's what the business side, when you take money out of your pocket and you start running a business, you look for the efficiencies and the successes to keep your clients. That's what we've done. We have grown our client base.
Is North Las Vegas the third fastest city in the state?
We are the third largest, I think that's what you're saying, on population.
Population.
Yes, we are.
Yes, okay. So it's Las Vegas, Henderson, and then North Las Vegas.
You're right. And Reno is close behind. They're doing very well up there too.
Okay. And you guys, in North Las Vegas, you guys have the Nellis Air Force Base?
Well, it sits on the outside of our boundaries, but 40,000 people live in North Las Vegas. They're dependents, spouses, enlisted.
From the Air Force
yeah,
Base.
that's in North Las Vegas.
And then you have the VA hospital, and that's huge.
10,000 people a month going to that place now, Steve. It's Shelley Berkeley's name should be enshrined forever in this community for getting that VA hospital there. She is just a hero to the veterans.
Yes. Yes, she is. And now she's running Toro University.
Yes.
Question for you, and a lot of people want to know why you were a Democrat for how long?
20, 25 years.
5 years. Why did you switch over to the Republican Party?
You know, see, I've never been a big party guy. No one's ever seen me at a state convention. Nobody's ever seen me at anything. I mean, I'd go to the caucus meetings just to see what they were doing in the presidential thing, you know, but I've never been a big policy person when it comes to running a party. It's just not me, you know. Maybe I have to be in charge. If no one else will lead, I'll lead, you know, but I have to be in charge if I don't think things are going well. But I was just like you, watching this whole country just make this huge shift, you know, and I kept thinking, somebody's going to pull it back to center. It just can't keep going, and it would get worse. And then the Bernie people, I never thought that would be possible 6 years ago. Look at what happened in such a short period of time. When the Democratic Party, the leadership of the state, had their election, and 4 of the 5 were avowed socialists, I said, that's it. I told you, my father was an Air Force man. I was an Eagle Scout. I mean, I'm true and true blue, an American boy. And so, and rather than just say, well, I quit, I'm going to tell people I'm quitting. If they want to come with me, but we're not staying with this. This is only going to get worse. We have got to stop what's happened already. We can't let it get worse and worse, or we'll lose it forever. This country, I'm trying to say.
That's happening.
Yeah.
That's what's happening right now. I mean, a lot of people are going to the center, or either becoming independent. The independent party is the fastest growing party. And what's happening is there's people that are radically right and radically left. And the people in the middle are like, you know what? We're going to go out here. We're not going to identify with either. We're going to vote our way, which is really going to throw a curveball into the Democratic machine. I mean, I think what you said was perfect. I think people forget that all Americans, regardless of party affiliation 30 years ago, were patriots. We're losing that patriotic belief. You served the country, your family, your father. We need to get back to what you just said.
Well, and there are a lot of us out there that are Democrats, and I'm not a Democrat anymore, but that feel the same way I do. And there's a lot of independents that left. I think right now, I heard that 800 Democrats are leaving the party a month, and like 800 or 900 Republicans are leaving their party a month. You know, so you're right about that, Patrick, about the center getting bigger and bigger. But you have to be in something that has a party system to it. I believe the Republican Party, giving enough cycles, maybe 2 or 3 cycles, can fix this country again. It's not going to be fast, but they have to figure out what their values are and stick with their values.
Interesting. Critical race theory is a textbook program out of the communist book. There was a lady on television the other day talking about it because she's from Russia. This is how they were taught, different pictures, but the story is the same. What's your feeling on the critical race theory going on, and how would you want to see that go here in Clark County?
I don't agree with it, because I grew up in North Las Vegas. There's a third Hispanic, third African American, third white, you know, and there's a lot of, you know, like Polynesians, you know, there's a lot of people live in North Las Vegas. But we're all blended together. We all live together. We all go to school together. We all work together. We live in a different environment than what I think is happening in other parts of this country. We all see each other. We see the greatness of each other. We see the love. We see the friendship. We see the neighborly, you know, together. And we're not supporting it in North Las Vegas. I'm telling you that right now. You know, we will fight this. It is not American to divide us like that.
What did your colleagues say when you made the announcement of switching parties on the city council?
They just looked at me and smiled and said, "You're just doing what you believe you should do," you know. And so in our city council, everyone has a district, and there's so much activity going on in every district, and I can't keep up with all the activity. And I say, listen, if you guys will run your districts, let me build the future. You know, we can build a great community together.
You don't micromanage?
No, I don't. When we get to the city council meeting, everybody's made up their mind what they're going to do. I never call anybody up, how are you going to vote on this, you know? If there's something going on in your district that might be controversial, I'll tell you, listen, I got 100 phone calls on this. Are you ready for this, you know? Have you done all your work on it? Because if you ask it to go to a vote, it's going to happen today. But if you can work with some of these people, you know, I'll give you 2 more weeks, we'll slide it off. Right. So we work as a team.
You're a man of results.
So, yeah. Well, I don't have time to waste on a lot of things like that. I just don't feel it's important. You know, do your job and then let's go to work.
You know, running a nonpartisan organization such as Veterans in Politics, I hear it on both sides, and I always although I'm a registered Republican, but I'm not radical left or radical right. You know, I'm kind of like, you know, pick the right person for the job to better the state that we live in. You know, if they have qualifications and they could do the job right, I think that's the person that we should pick, in my philosophy, regardless of political affiliation. That's just how I look at it. But there's some people that if you're not an R or a D or IAP or a Lib, you don't have their vote. And you know, I think that when people vote like that, they don't educate themselves on the candidates that are running for office. Yeah. You know, like you have a whole slew of legislative session. I mean, you were in the Assembly, you were in the state Senate, you were you're currently mayor of North Las Vegas, and plus I've known you forever. Yeah. You know, and I know that you always try to do the right thing. What grounds you, Mayor? Is it your religious background? Is it the Eagle Scouts? Is it your love for the veteran population? What grounds you to make your conscience flow in the right direction that's going to better the entire populace?
I think my mother. You know, mothers are very, very powerful to young men, and a good mother who will give an example and reward you with pats on the back when you do the right thing, when she pushes you to continue to get Eagle Scout and Boy Scouts and stuff. Fathers are very good examples for what a man should be, but a mother puts into your heart the man that you will become. And so that's always been it. But yes, Boy Scouts has had a lot to do with it. My faith has had a lot to do with it. But I don't like to lie to people. I don't like to I like to make sure everybody wins. Steve, if I didn't like you and you run the lottery today, I'd be tickled to death with you. I mean, I still don't want to be around you, but I'd be happy that you won. I want to be happy for you. I'm not going to wish ill upon you. If you're doing this and I don't like it, I'm just going to go over here. But I think at the end of the day, when I am working with people and it's their money I'm spending, I think I want them to respect me and my money as well as I want to respect them and their money. So I think it's the North Las Vegas upbringing that we were all in this together. Let's take care of each other.
Very well said.
Yeah.
So, if and when you become governor, what's your agenda?
Well, as I just mentioned, first thing I think we need to do is we need to figure out that can you look to Carson City and see a person sitting there, man or woman, who you can trust. So do you remember when you were younger, Peter, Patrick, maybe that your mother would point... My
grandmother always called me Peter, so don't worry about it.
Maybe your mother would point to the mayor of the community and say, there's the mayor, there's a city councilman, there's a sheriff, there's a police chief. And you didn't know what made them special, but you knew your parents thought they were special people, you know, and you looked up to them. I want mothers and fathers and families to look up to the governor of their state and say, that's our guy, you know. He's going to give his best. He's going to do what he can to make it great for you and give you the same opportunity and keep my job and keep us in this house. We're going to show leadership first. And then I'm going to give you a direction of where I can see us going in the next 10 years of what we're doing. We're going to look at the directors. We're going to see how they're doing and what their opportunities are for better service to the community. We're just going to lead, but we're going to set an idea where we're going to go, what we need to fix, how we're going to get there, and what things should look like in the next 8 years.
Have you had anybody come approach you about running for lieutenant governor with you?
I have not. And I bet this would have to be a special person, because this person has to sit by my side with me. And I say, you take these responsibilities and I'll take these, and let's return and report to each other and see how we're doing. The lieutenant governor could be the most powerful position for a governor, but if he has someone he can't trust, if he goes out of town, they start, trying to sign executive orders and stuff like that, then that's going to really dissuade me from trusting that person. So I haven't found that person yet.
Veterans in politics have been passionate about family court. And what we have learned is that a lot of these entities supposed to oversee the judges and oversee attorneys. They're not doing a great job. The Judicial Discipline Commission supposed to oversee judges. This is my opinion, not yours, Mayor.
This is your world. I agree.
They have no backbone. They suck. I don't know how else to describe them. The state bar that's supposed to oversee lawyers, the same. As governor, and I know that the governor has a hand in appointing people that sit on the state bar as far as disciplinary concern, and the governor has a hand in appointing people that sit on Judicial Discipline Commission as well, and also controls the budget of the two. As governor, how could you effectively make sure that these entities are doing their job in the judiciary? How could you make sure that each of them has a budget to investigate and to conduct hearings and to conduct judicial discipline? How could you do that? Because they're both failing the state of Nevada, hugely failing the state of Nevada, and nobody pays attention to it.
What I do know about that is judges seem to protect other judges. Lawyers protect judges. The Supreme Court protects judges. There's something there that ties them and binds them together. I believe that there are also lawyers that are independent thinkers like you are, that love the law and will do what's right for their residence estate. It's who you pick, it's who you choose, what you tell them we're looking for. If you're not able to do that, then we don't want you. We want you to give counsel and then give verdicts on what you think needs to be done. If we can save somebody, if we can fix somebody, I have no problem with that. I'm not looking to destroy a person's career, but I am saying you have to have people that have share the same vision you do, for everyone having an equal access and a fair judge in their life. We've just opened up our diversionary court in North Las Vegas. We've not had that. So now we've got people coming in that have certain issues with, maybe it's opiates, or maybe it's, with alcohol or homelessness or something. We're doing what we can in the city to make sure our judges realize you're a part of this community. We're just not throwing people in jail, but what can we do to help our residents? But I will agree to you, there is a network of a good old voice system within those organizations.
How could we get rid of it?
Well, once again, it's leadership. If you're not going to do it right, I'll ask you to leave,
And in this last session, and Dr. Robin Titus, who the minority whip for
I've met her
at the was it Assembly or State Senate? Assembly. We did this bill because the bill was on remove or retain. So if a judge if an incumbent judge wants to go up for re-election, okay, and they made the general election, then they go on the ballot and the people decide if they should remove that judge or retain that judge. And let me tell you why Veterans in Politics came up with that whole idea. It was because, like you said, judges and attorneys is a good old boy network. And there's a lot of attorneys don't want to run against a judge because X, Y, and Z, because they got caseloads in front of that judge and they don't want it to go left field, or because they're friends of judges or friends of attorney that knows the judge. It's a whole big colossal of crap. And they don't want to turn in a judge because of the same reason, because of their caseload. So we formed this bill, and it was in the last session, to remove or retain. So if a judge that's an incumbent is on the ballot, instead of the judge runs unopposed, the judge will run against the people. And the people will decide if the judge stays or if the judge should be removed. If the people decide that the seat should be vacated, and it goes through the Judicial Selection Committee process, just like anything. The Judicial Selection Committee takes applications and sends 3 names to the governor, and the governor picks one of the 3 names, and then they go for retention in the next election cycle. Because there's a lot of attorneys don't want to run against judges for all those reasons, and they still remain on the bench, and we have to deal with them year after year after year after year. What do you think about that idea?
Well, what you're talking about is what's known as a Missouri plan, and they did that in Missouri. I never was really for that until this last election, when I saw a lot of wonderful attorneys just get wiped out. You know what I mean? That I thought there was no particular reason, it just got wiped out. But I also believe, I think there's nothing wrong with term limits for judges either. I think that if you're a judge for 8 years or 10 years, that's a good enough term. It's public service. It's not a full-time gig, Just go in, do it, and then you get off. And if we did what you're saying after this last election, I somewhat am favoring more structure in the process. It's like school board trustees. We don't elect school board trustees. We don't vote for them. We just guess them in. We don't know who they are, and that's what happens. And we get these people like, well, they just had a name that sounded like mine, or, they were the top of the list. And we don't get a chance to actually have other professional people or smart people look at who we're electing.
Well, look at the border region, and I'll tell you something that blows my mind. We had.
Well, I'm not saying anything wrong about any of these people.
Right.
But the system is so far down the list, Steve, that sometimes people don't even get to the end of the ballot,
The border region, right? And I'm just bringing this up because once you become governor, you have to deal with the border region as well. But the border region, we had 2 people running in the general election. One had a master's degree or a couple master's degree. The whole family education was priority, and the other guy didn't have any. His education level wasn't even close to this guy. He didn't even have an AA. Okay, and I'm thinking, if you're running for border region, should you at least have a bachelor's degree?
I would agree with that.
Because if you're going to tell people for higher education, you're higher education, but your title says higher education, but you really don't have any, how are you going to go to the youths and say, hey, stay in school, get your college degree, if you yourself don't have that?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm 50% with you. I think you need a certain amount of people on there that could bring that. I also think there's other people. I don't know how much education Patrick has had.
Limited college, but I'll be honest with you. You look at somebody's business experience and all that other stuff, and how they are with youth and whatnot. They can be maybe more qualified than somebody who has a doctorate.
So we could have some of those people. We could have a more blended university leadership position.
When I look at our Clark County, you go into the education. When you look at the Clark County School District, year in and year out, there's no growth. They just keep wanting to raise taxes to fund it, but where's the money going? Once again, the Teachers Trust had issues with their health plans. I'd be the first one to tell you the best thing that they can do from a state perspective is the entire state employees should be under one master health plan versus having the Teachers Trust. Every so often, money goes awry. The people who run the Teachers Trust, if you look at the amount of money they're getting paid and they're vested with pension, I once said if I had the money one person was being paid many years ago, I'd quit. I'll work for you exclusively with that pension. I don't have to work. It's unbelievable. Essentially, as an insurance producer, you're supposed to do things that are crazy and work hard for your people. They made a deal with a broker, and they gave him a contract that said if we fire you, we're gonna have to pay you. We have to pay you out. That's unheard of. You fired me because I didn't do the job. You don't reward me with a big payout. And Clark County did it. The way they spend their money in Clark County is amazing. My issue is, how are we finally going to ever turn the education system in Clark County around? What would your plan be?
Well, that's another good question. In North Las Vegas, our parents want choice. they want their children to have a better opportunity than they had. A lot of them have just migrated here from other places. So we've actually started a micro school, Southern Nevada Urban Micro Academy. When the pandemic happened, Steve, for the first 2 months, nobody knew really what it was. First, most of us just thought epidemic was the end of the world. Now it's a pandemic, what is that, worldwide? And so we work 4 days a week. So we had police officers, essential workers, firefighters, all our intelligence. They would take 2 days off, and then maybe they didn't work Monday and Tuesday, and then their wife would go to work Wednesday and Thursday, and they would be, he would work Monday and Tuesday, then the wife would go Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, or Thursday and Friday. And so what happened was we had families that have 2 incomes, but they both have to work, and they would tell their kids, Steve, here's some bread, here's some jam, here's some peanut butter, and keep the TV down. I don't want anybody to know there's anybody home here. You know what I mean? Like without a parent here, And we said, this is not going to work for our employees. They deserve better than this. And we expect them to work because taxes are being paid for their services. So we started this academy, and we have a live teacher there. We had 100 students immediately. We started teaching these students of these employees. It was great. See, if you could come in, take your kid, we test them. Actually, this kid's in the 2nd grade, even though they're in the 3rd. We need to get their math up. But this child needs to go up 2 grades because they're so smart, And we put them in the right places they were. Fantastic results. This year, we decided to fund it again, and we got 150 kids now that are in this program. We have more charter schools, more parochial schools, more schools that you can go to, such as this one, than anywhere else in this valley. Our parents are excited about these opportunities. So I'm huge into education, but it makes the Clark County School District have to work harder to get our students now.
Do you realize to open up a Clark County school costs 3 times the cost compared to a charter school because of the people that are tied to the union and to the school district? It's ridiculous. I had a friend of mine is a teacher, great guy, great teacher. And he goes, where do you get your stats? Well, I got it from the inside. And I'm like, it costs $11 million for them to pick up the land and build the school, and it costs 31 over here, yet the charter school seems to do as good, if not better, than the public school. Why aren't we doing this? Why aren't we saving that money and using that money for something really important, which is like helping our youth? And we have and the homeless youth in Clark County is brutal.
No, I get that, but there's a prevailing wage law in Nevada that when buildings are over so much, this is public money that it pays prevailing wage. These charter schools don't have to live to that standard. They can just go in, build it themselves, and then bring people into their school.
Do you have any idea who you'd want for Attorney General and Secretary of State, since the entire constitutional seats are all up?
No, I don't. But we're 17 months out right now. I'm not sure if the current governor stays or the Attorney General wants to run against him, or 3 more people want to run against me, or I'm pretty much. There's actually 3 races in a political race, Steve. The first one is you go out and meet opinion leaders. You meet the Patricks of the world. I traveled to all 17 counties. I didn't knock on doors saying, please vote for me. I went to the Republican Men's Club, Republican Women's Club, organizations that are validators of me. If you like what I'm saying, you might want to consider me in the primary election. And so you go meet those people first. Then you start in the process of you're getting good results. I need to start raising money. And that's the position I'm in right now. Finishing up with this, now tons of fundraising to get prepared for this race. The third race you're in is where you actually go out and talk to the voter. And that's after you sign your name in the primary election, and you go out there and you state what's different between you and everybody else. So I'm in phase 1 and 2 right now, Steve. I will tell you this though, as I toured the whole state meeting these people, Patrick, there's 2 things I saw. One was hopelessness. People on the roads just feel hopeless. They don't feel they're connected to our state government. They think, well, the governor gives them the impression they feel that since you didn't vote for him, I'm not going to do anything for you. And so they just feel like there's nothing. The Nevada guys that used to be our friends are out in Clark County, and they all hate us when they come up here. They don't know anything about us. And so the other is anger. There's so much anger in this world right now. When you talk about division of political parties and stuff, it's there. There is anger in this world right now. And we're all looking, can it get worse? Or can we fix it and make it better? And I think we have to make it better this election.
Well, a governor has to be a unifier.
I agree with that.
And how you plan to unify the state?
Just by being me and just do the things that I do and recognize I get paid by everybody and everybody's going to have an opportunity. I mean, I think a governor should, like every quarter, call in all the mayors. Here's what I'm doing at the state. Here's what I'm doing. What are you doing? How is this affecting you? What should I be doing to help you? I really work for you and you work for them. We work for the same people, you know.
You certainly have the experience, 14 years.
And then bring the counties in. You know, they don't have a charter. They're creatures of the state. What are you guys doing? What do you need help on? What's going on, you know?
You're talking about the county commission.
Yeah, but they don't have a charter. But my point is, we could do this. We could actually become one state again. You know, I understand there's always a north and south. I get that. But the people I know aren't in the north or the south.
Even the Hatfields and the McCoys put their arms down.
I'm sure they did. But we have to know where we want to take Nevada. It's like, who's taking advantage of being closer to the governor now? That's how it seems to be. He likes UNR more than UNLV. UNLV more than UNR. Therefore, we have a war, you know.
He has a large war chest, too.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to raise money for whoever our main candidate's going to be. It's important. Your experience definitely comes with some sweetness to it because you're accomplished on every level. I mean, that's an amazing thing between the Assembly, the Senate, and now running a whole city. And running a city is no different than running the whole state because it's pretty much the same type of mechanisms.
Let me simplify this because I understand what you're saying. It looks like you went from this to a bigger position to a bigger position. But this next bigger position is not a big position. There's 3.1 million, somewhere in that area, Nevadans, right now. That seems like a lot of people. It's a big state, but that's not a lot of people. We're the most urban city, maybe we're the most urban state in the nation because we have 2 population centers. You know, there's not that many people in rurals. But there's like 3.2 million people just in Orange County. It's not that big a job if you just understand what the job is, and there's a lot of dirt in between these towns, but we can work with those. But they need to survive economically too. We can't see these rurals go under. So our mining, our agriculture are huge in our state. We have to support them also.
I go to Elko a lot. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. I was there for 4th of July this year. That was incredible.
Yeah?
Everybody puts their hand over their heart there. I thought we had the most patriotic city in Nevada.
That's how it's supposed to be.
I'm telling you right now, Elko is as close to North Las Vegas as in it, and maybe even more. I don't want to admit it, but those guys are special.
I hate what they're doing to the American flag when they put all these different things on there. Just leave the flag alone.
Yeah.
Just leave the flag alone. Get your own flag, and that's fine, but leave the American flag alone.
That's strong, Steve, yeah.
You know, because I could put a whole bunch of stuff. I could put veterans in politics, make it look like stars. You know, I don't do that because that's not how that I'm used to the flag to be.
Well, you know, at Nellis Air Force Base at 5 o'clock, that flag's coming down. Everybody stops what they're doing. They look where that flagpole is, and there's silence. You know, while that flag comes down, they play taps. So that's my life too, being.
And Mayor, you're a cancer survivor. Tell us how that affected the way you lead.
Yeah, I was always a nice person. Always want to support everybody. Want everybody to do good. Happy how you doing it. But I noticed that I had, after cancer, I'd somehow developed this because I had a lot of employees, that somebody would come up to me, one of my friends, and say, hey, I'd say, how's it going, Steve? And you might say, man, it's not going good. I'm 3 months behind on my house payment. My car's behind. One of my sons is in trouble with the wrong gang. My wife is sick, you know, and I'm thinking, oh, this guy's got problems. I mean, these are big problems in a man's life, you know. And I would slap you on the back and say, go for it, man. You can do it. If anybody can do it, it's you. You know, and I'd turn around and go, oh, I think he wanted me to make his house payment. I take his wife to the hospital. You know, I mean, just you think he's taking all that and transferred on you, right? He wasn't doing that. He just wanted to talk to a friend. I just didn't know what empathy was. I had no idea that you can love somebody when they need your help. They'll figure out their problems. They've done it their whole life. They just want to have an empathy moment with somebody who might be able to understand them, you know. And so I've learned a lot of empathy. And so if there's a whole bunch of plumbers over here, I was a plumber, and a whole bunch of Republicans over here, and, you know, punch people in my face, but there was cancer survivors here, I think I would gravitate to the cancer survivors. It's a special experience in your life. I hope you never get cancer. It's the greatest time of your life to get it now because there's so many cures.
It's the greatest time in your life to get it.
I'm telling you
Well,
right
from a
now.
scientific position, yeah, except for the COVID. Yeah, we have the cancer centers out in California. I mean, I bought an insurance plan so I can go national. I'm going to Sloan Kettering. They just took care of my aunt. She had kidney cancer. She's doing well, thank God.
Yeah.
Wow.
So We have great health care in this country and in this state. I know that.
Would you bring Braille to this state? Because apparently I haven't seen any kind of anything for the blind people that are as far as learning how to read Braille or anything like that.
You know, Steve, I'm not aware of that. That's never come up to me
That's a good one.
before. You might have more advice than I would have on that. I thought we took care of all those needs of the disadvantaged in our district.
I don't think they have anything for the blind out here in the state of Nevada.
Now, I've been to the Blind Center before, and I'm going to tell you, that's a fantastic organization. It's over just outside North Las Vegas, and it's a beautiful facility. You should tour that.
Do they teach you how to read Braille?
They do. They help those students over there, and there's other blind people working with you. So I do know the Blind Center is a fantastic organization. So,
How would you tackle our homeless problem and our crime?
oh man, Patrick, I got to scratch my head. You know, I thought there was three things I could never fix. One would be education, one would be health care, and one would be homelessness. I've had to work on education and learn how to be good at that. We've worked with health care with the COVID. We've learned how to resource and manage and get people to positions so we can give those shots to the people who wanted it. I've not figured out homelessness yet. I used to have a guy that worked for me, and his name was Jim, and I picked him up on D Street in Bonanza. We used to go there to get day laborers at the time, and Jim was the best concrete finisher I'd ever met in my life. I mean, he was just magic and a good worker. And I'd give him a paycheck, and then he'd walk down the street back to where he was going. But Jim didn't want anything more. His wife had children. They were going to school one day. He was at work, and a car came and killed his family. You know, it was a terrible accident. Jim quit his job, and he had no reason to live anymore, you know. And after 6 months, Jim would be gone for a while, and then he'd come back. I just think some people just get in such a state, I don't know if they really want to change after a while. What drives them, what gets them up in the morning, you know, and how they act. I don't know how to fix homelessness, but it is an issue that needs to be considered among the state and the local governments.
You know, one of the main things that a governor does is to pick or appoint an attorney to sit on the bench for judge. And since that's a lot of what we're doing in veterans and politics as far as judiciary, what do you look for in a judge?
Well, I think the first thing is empathy, you know, and we just talked about that, you know, is he a real person, you know? If I had to appoint someone to that position, is that your question?
Right.
I would want somebody who knew Nevada well. I would want somebody who was interested in it, not as a position to get appointed to, but somebody who really wanted to put effort into that position, you know, and it was part of their passion in life. I would choose somebody who's not as scared of what he thinks and saying what he thinks is right, you know, but I would want somebody who works with others, that listens to your side of the issue, the other side of the issue, tries to resolve problems and not try to just push people aside and say, this is the way we've always done it. That's what I would look for.
Okay. You have anything else for?
This has been a blessing to be here. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate you guys. This is a very pivotal time in Nevada's history and our country's history. This is a time when all the soldiers need to get up and start getting in shape, doing push-ups, whatever it takes, because this next political year is going to make or break us. And if we go any further to the left, you know, I don't know if we'll ever get our country back.
I'm with you on that.
Mayor, did we miss anything that you want to focus on, bring up, mention?
No,
PBS?
I would say one thing. It's an easy thing. I know a lot of people who I tell them, you ought to get in politics. Patrick, you got the right temperament. You should do this. You know, we need people like you, Steve. You know, and they say, oh, I can't do it because on Monday night I take my kids to swimming, and on Tuesday night we got piano, and Wednesday night soccer. You know, and I tell them, I don't remember the last time any of my friends' kids ever played in the Olympics in soccer, or swimming, or piano at Carnegie Hall. You know, I mean, you're leaving a community of people. You're living in a community of people here who need your leadership too, you know. But what they'll do is they'll listen to all these talk show people, and they'll know what's going on, and they'll run upstairs, and they'll say their prayers, Heavenly Father, I just found this out, please fix this for us, this is great, you know, amen, you know. Then they go to bed. You can't win like that. You have to get people who push the button, you know, the green button or the red button. You have to elect people who you can trust, you know.
Engaged. I mean, I have to see. Steve's engaged. I'm engaged in different facets, but I totally agree with you. Honestly, if I had the power, I would definitely award all of our politicians in Nevada that are state workers, like assemblymen and state senators. I think they should be making about $35,000 a year. I mean, that's part of the problem. When you look at the economics, and what happens is you have people on the left that get to keep their jobs, yet they get to serve, so it's a duplicate of income. And that's really the problem. I just think as a community, we have to remember the 4 keys to every person: jingle in the pocket, food on the table, roof over the head, and clothes on their back. If every man and woman can provide for their family those 4 elements, they're content. And right now, for the very first time in a long time, nobody's content, because the current administration is, in less than 6 months, has ransacked bottom lines.
Thank you. Amen, Steve. I think you did it. Good show.
Could you look into the camera and tell folks why they should go and make you the governor of Nevada? And you know what? Before you do that, Mr. Mayor, I got one other question that I forgot to bring up. You're vacating the mayor's seat.
I am. Early, 4 years, yeah. I'm not filling out my full term.
So we're going to have a new mayor of North Las Vegas, regardless if you're victorious being governor or not. What should people look for when they vote for a mayor?
I think somebody who understands what has already happened and how we got there, where we were before, and what it was like, and where we want to go in the future. Somebody who has experience to continue on moving with our staff and to move forward, to finish what we've already started. I have built a city. The next mayor will be running a bigger city than I did, because we're just going to grow and grow and grow. We have to still value what brought us to that point and continue to do the same thing over and over, to offer opportunities for businesses and opportunities for our residents, and then trust our council to keep control of the money and make sure we're doing the right things for the taxpayer's dollar. That's it.
All right. So now look at the camera and tell people why they should vote for you as the next.
I've not done this before.
As the next governor for the state of Nevada.
I think
and your point of contact.
Yeah. My website is www.votejohnlee.com. I believe I am the most qualified person at this point to take a look at what our state is doing and where it's going to go in the future. I think I offer vision. I offer security to you, and I offer the ability for you to reach out and be a part of your government. I know if you elect John Lee to be your governor, he will tirelessly work for you to make sure that he fixes the state for the next 20 years. I don't want to be governor just to be governor and get my picture on a wall somewhere. I want to fix Nevada so that the next governors don't have to continue pushing forward all these things that just never get fixed and never get accomplished. So I have a curious desire to make North Las Vegas run more professionally and efficiently, and I know I can do the job. I will bring in the right people, and I will surround myself with people that everyone will trust as much as I do. And with that, I will work tirelessly to see that you succeed. Thank you very much.
Did you do your point of contact?
www.votejohnlee.com. And we do need your help. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Lee, for coming on the program. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Patrick Casale, for coming on the program as
Thanks
a special.
For having me. It's an honor.
And I have a public announcement. I just want to remind everybody that are Veterans in Politics 6 biennial every other year, biennial Valentine's Day Ball is going to be at the South Point Casino on Saturday, February 19th. And hopefully Mayor Lee will be one of her speakers. Cross your fingers, hopefully. And it should be lots of fun. Starting at 5 to 6 is cocktail hour, 6 is dinner. And beyond that, we have raffles, dancing, the whole 9 yards. So we hope to see everybody there on Saturday, February 19th at the South Point Hotel and Casino. This is Steve Sampson and Patrick Casale with Veterans in Politics. That was Mayor John Lee running for a gubernatorial, running for the governor of the great state of Nevada. Until next time.